Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of the products that I did love in the month of August. And I know you guys are probably thinking you just did a favorites video like 2 days ago. Well, this is a little bit different than the video that I posted last week. That I posted last week are more products that I'm, loving month in and month out. Those are products that are in constant rotation, for the last several months. Whereas my monthly favorites video are just maybe some products that I liked this month but might not, make top shelf next month. So that's kind of the difference between the two. So if you are interested in my August favorites, you are definitely in the right place. But before I get into that video, I just want to say that if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you do not mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribing to my channel just ensures that you do not miss any future upcoming videos. I do post 5 videos a week here on my channel, Monday through Friday. So I feel like there is definitely something out there for you. And if you are not new to my channel, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join and support. And yeah, you guys, if y'all want to see some of the things that I loved in the month of August, then you are definitely in the right place and you are definitely going to want to go ahead and just keep on watching. All right, so if you've been around my channel for a good amount of time, you know that I have been kind of using the same eye primers for probably the past year to a year and a half, but I have finally switched them out. Well, not necessarily switched them out, but I went back to an old favorite and I tested out something new. So the two eye primers that I have been using recently, MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in the shade Painterly, and I have also been using the NYX Glitter Glue or Glitter Primer. If you are familiar with my channel, you know that I have been using the Too Faced Glitter Primer for quite some time, which is this guy right here, the Too Faced Glitter Glue, and I've also been using the Benefit Stay Don't Stray. But recently, I'd say probably the past month or so, maybe month and a half, I went back to the Painterly Paint Pot, the NYX Glitter Primer. Now, this is essentially the exact same thing as the Too Faced Glitter Glue, but so much cheaper. It works just as well as the Too Faced Glitter Glue, and I want to say that this is under like $8 and the Too Faced Glitter Glue is around $20. And I have hooded eyes, so that is why I always go in with 2 primers. One to cancel out the discoloration on my eyelids, and then the other to make sure that the shimmer shades that I place down on my eye don't transfer into like the hood of my eye, or they still transfer throughout the day, but whenever I use a glitter glue, they don't transfer as quickly. Now, the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, it just masks everything. I have very pigmented eyelids. I have a lot of discoloration on my skin, from my cheeks to my forehead to my chin, everywhere. And my eyelids are no exception. So this just masks everything. I even will put it in the inner corner to kind of help mask some of my inner corner darkness right in this area, which is still pretty dark. I do have a hard time, even when I color correct, kind of getting rid of that inner corner darkness because it is super dark. Especially over this last week, I haven't been getting a lot of sleep. That is just a really good eyeshadow base. A little bit goes a long way. It's super pigmented, and I can't remember the last time my eyeshadow showed up so vividly and so well on my eyelids ever since I started going back to the Painterly Paint Pot. So I'm so happy to have that back in my rotation, back in my collection. So there were 2 eyeshadow palettes that were stand out to me this month. The first one is the Tarte Tartelette in Bloom eyeshadow palette. Now, this is nothing new to the market. It's been around forever, just like the other 2 products I just mentioned. And I hauled this a while ago, and I had been wanting to purchase it for some time, and it just kept getting pushed to the back, but then I've mentioned it before. I found a Jamie Page Beauty recently, or more recently, on YouTube, and she is always talking about this as being one of her favorite eyeshadow palettes. So I decided to go ahead and pick it up. It is the eyeshadow palette that I am wearing on my eyes today. And I really love this. It is so versatile. It is so user-friendly. And this shade right here, and this shade right here, these are beautiful. It is a 12-pan eyeshadow palette. It has 9 mattes and 3 shimmer satin shades. And I'll go ahead and swatch those 3 right there for you. And I just feel like this eyeshadow palette is beautiful. I always talk about loving Tarte's eyeshadows and not understanding why they don't get more love. This is just my perfect palette. This is one of those palettes I always talk about. How when you have a palette that you might love, let's say it comes with 12 eyeshadows like this one does, you might love 8, or 7, or however many you love. It is very rare that you find an eyeshadow palette that you will love every single shade, where every single shade performs, that there's no duds, they all work. I have used every single shade in here at one time or another over the course of the last month, and they all perform extremely well on the eyes. I love the 3 shimmer shades. My favorite one is this one down here. It's just a beautiful inner corner highlight, brow bone highlight. You can wear it on the tops of your cheekbones if you chose. I'm really into this palette and I love it. And it is one of those palettes that is easily going to become a staple product for me. I was talking about in a previous video how I want to do some of my top favorite eyeshadow palettes of all time. That video is getting harder and harder and harder to even think about doing as the months go on, because over the last couple of months I have found some palettes that I love, like absolutely love. And another one is the Marc Jacobs 740 Scandalust eyeshadow palette. And these are in the iconic range, or it basically says iconic eyeshadows. It comes with 7 eyeshadows and it retails for $49. Marc Jacobs just recently reformulated his entire eyeshadow range and came out with these eyeshadows. Now, I always wanted to try them in the past, back whenever, you know, the Lolita eyeshadow palette was super popular here on YouTube, but that palette retailed for $59. So he actually came out with new eyeshadows and they're cheaper, which is so awesome. Thank you so much. I know one difference between the new ones versus the old ones is the old ones came with one of those velvet pouches that nobody ever uses. So if that saved me $10, I'll take it. I will take it. Now, if you look at this and you know me any type of way, as far as following me on YouTube, you know that this is my palette. With the exception of this shade right here, it is very similar to the Tartelette in Bloom palette. Of course, there is less eyeshadows, but you can create similar looks. If you remove this eyeshadow right here, you can create very similar looks. But these eyeshadows are so blendable. They're so buttery. They're the perfect amount of pigment. There's no fallout. They are good quality. Marc Jacobs, I feel like over the last year has knocked everything out of the park. There is nothing that Marc Jacobs that I have tried this year that has released that I don't like. I even like that setting spray that everybody talked through shade at. I personally like it. I think it's really nice. Let me go ahead and swatch. The mattes in here are super creamy. The metallics in here are really nice. They are not chunky whatsoever. They're just super beautiful eyeshadows. There are a couple of them. Swatch. There is one more that I want to pick up, but I'm kind of taking it easy on eyeshadows. I do want to purchase the Editorial one, I believe is the name of it. I've been seeing a lot of people using that one and raving about them. These shadows, I mean, I know it's so cliche, you know, when you hear the buttery, the blendable, the smooth, the pigmented, you know, the blends itself. I know sometimes it's like, come on, like we get it already, but no, like I'm so serious. These are beautiful. And every cliche thing that you've ever heard about an eyeshadow palette on YouTube applies to this new formulation of Marc Jacobs eyeshadows. I have to look because the only other Marc Jacobs eyeshadows that I own are the ones that were in the holiday palettes, and I'm not sure if the formulation is the same, but I liked those anyway. So even if it is the old formulation, I still like Marc Jacobs eyeshadows regardless. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to kind of jump a little bit. I'm going to talk about lip products that I have been loving, and I have 3, and I have worn this in so many videos, and I am obsessed with it. It is the color that I am wearing today, and practically every color that I've had on this month. This is the Huda Beauty liquid lipstick in the shade Trophy Wife. Now, what I like about this, I've had this lipstick on all day. Okay, not all day. It is probably about 8:30, and I put on my makeup around probably I'll say 1 o'clock. And I ate a salad, so it wasn't like anything like overly oily or anything. This lasts so well on the lips. It is not drying. It is super comfortable. It is almost like, it's almost like a liquidy consistency in the sense that it just glides onto the lips beautifully. It's like a one swipe and done. It doesn't crack on my lips the way other liquid lipsticks wear. It is one of the most comfortable formulations of a liquid lipstick that I've ever tried. It's probably definitely in my top 5. I mean, I haven't tried like an over exorbitant amount of liquid lipsticks, but I do like them. And I'll go ahead and swatch it anyway, even though it is the color that I'm wearing on my lips. That is it right there. It is going to be the perfect color to wear in the fall time. I did pick up, I believe, 1 more of these, or maybe even 2 more during one of my Sephora sales. I have no idea where those are. I love this one so much. I can't get enough of it. And I mean, it is just a perfect me color. I own this color like 50 times probably, but the formulation is so nice. And another thing that I like about it is I'm wearing it kind of intensified today because I did go over it with 2 layers, which made the color a little bit darker. But like I mentioned, you can get a good opacity with 1 full layer, and the color would be a little bit lighter if you didn't want to go in with something as dark and vampy as I'm wearing on my lips. But at the same time, I still think it is completely wearable. I think that if you wanted to wear it in daytime, you totally could. It's like towing that line between being like extra vampy but still like appropriate. So I really like this, and I'm super into Huda Beauty's liquid lipsticks right now. At first I wasn't sure about them, which is why it took me so long to buy them, but I'm so glad that I finally did. Now, a lip gloss that I have been wearing a ton. I have gotten really back into liquid lips or lip glosses, and I've actually been wearing this color over top of the Huda Beauty liquid lipstick a lot, just to kind of give myself a little bit of a glossy vibe, because I've been kind of into the glossy vibe again. Now, these colors aren't exactly the same. They're this one is a little bit more of a rosy nude. Did I tell y'all what this is? Probably not. This is the Buxom full-on lip cream in the shade Dolly, and that is what this guy looks like. Honestly, I have, because this is a color that I wear a lot, and I pretty much have just been throwing this lip gloss over everything, and it just kind of works. It goes with so many of the different lipsticks that I wear. And another combination that I really like, the Buxom Plump Line Lip Liner, and this is in the shade Dolly Danger, and this guy looks like that. This is another lip color that you have kind of seen me wear quite a lot on my channel, and I again will top Dolly lip gloss over top of the Dolly Danger, and you can see that those pair really nice together. And even let me re-swatch the Huda Beauty lipstick. You can see, I mean, they're lighter to darker versions of one another, but you can definitely see that they are all in the same color family. So it is definitely really easy to see what type of lip products that I do like. On the opposite side, it is dual-ended. On one side, you get a brush that will kind of feather the product for you. Let me kind of feather it out so you can see. So it will kind of feather the product out for you if you wanted to do like an ombre lip, or if you wanted to wear this all over as a lip, like an actual like lipstick, you could easily do that. You could sheer it out. You can line your lips with this. It definitely is a thicker tip. I do need to sharpen mine, but because I just kind of fill my entire lip with it, I don't really care about having that super precise line for a lip liner. However, I do wear this as a lip liner, but I do find myself mostly wearing it as an all over lip color, and I really like the formulation of these. They're not drying. They last a pretty decent amount of time on the lips. Just, they feel super comfortable. They blend really easily. They're nice and creamy, and they have a really nice color selection of these guys. I definitely want to pick up some more of these, and I already own a ton of the Buxom Full On Lip Creams. This is just my personal favorite color, so I thought I would mention those. So we've done eyes, lips, and let's move on to the face. Okay, so I am back into using my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This is a product that if you've been around on my channel for a while, you know that I really love. I don't really use it as a primer. I use it more as a first step, kind of like a moisturizer. It is something that will work for all skin types. It will work if you're dry. It would work if you're oily. It has shea butter, vitamin C and E, and it's just a really good way to kind of like lightly hydrate your face, lightly get things super plump before you were to go in with your primers. Now, I do know that there are some people who will use this as like a priming product. I personally don't like to use any primer by itself. I like to do primer cocktails because I do have dry combination skin. I do have some larger pores, but this is a really good first step or moisturizer. And it is a favorite of mine. It is something that I have raved about time and time again on my channel, but I had not used it in quite some time. So I have been back on this bandwagon recently. Now, another item that I've really been enjoying as well, this is the NARS Laguna Liquid Bronzer. And I don't necessarily use this as a liquid bronzer, because I don't use liquid bronzers very often to actually bronze the skin. What I have been using this for, this is the color here. It sets down really nicely. When it does set into place, it doesn't move. I do use it as a liquid bronzer from time to time, but you can see it is a little bit on the warmer side, and I don't like overly warm bronzers. Now, what I've been using it for is, you know, I do have a couple of foundations that are a little bit on the lighter side. On the foundations that are a little bit lighter, I have been mixing this in with those foundations, and it has been perfect. like what my Lancome foundation is a little bit too light right now, which is why I haven't been reaching for it, because I accidentally bought it in a little bit too light of a shade to begin with. But I've been mixing like 2 pumps of that foundation, 1 pump of this guy, and it has been perfect. And I feel like being able to use this is going to allow me to get a lot more use and a lot more wear of the foundations that I just accidentally bought the wrong color for and never actually exchanged. I mean, it's really nice. And like I said, it sets down beautifully, like it's already set. And whenever if you do want to use it as an all over bronzer, which I have done from time to time, it did not disrupt my foundation. It applied nicely and evenly over foundation. It blended it into the skin beautifully. And it also didn't look too warm, which is really, really nice, because you know that I don't mind a little bit of warmth in my bronzer, but overall I don't like a super warm tone bronzer because it makes my skin look splotchy and blotchy, and I'm not really into that look. A setting spray that I have really enjoyed this month is the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray. Now, as far as mists are concerned, this is one of the best. Let me just spray a little bit right here. Now, one thing to note about this setting spray is it does have little specks of glitter in there. So one thing that you have to do with the setting spray, you have to really give it a good shake if you don't want those glitters to just kind of come spitting out at your face. And then I also will hold it a little bit further back, because a lot of times I'll go for it and I'll put setting spray super close to my face, but this one I am a little bit more careful with how far or how close I put it to my face, so that way those little fine glitters won't show up on my skin. And even if they do kind of show up on your skin, it's not like obvious glitter specks and glitter particles on the skin. It's not. I think it's really beautiful. I think it gives you the perfect amount of luminosity. Over the last week, I don't know what is going on, but my skin has gone through a terrible, there was about 3 days where I didn't even bother. Granted, I couldn't leave my house, so that was another reason where I didn't bother putting on makeup. But there was a couple of days where I wanted to try to film, and my skin was so painfully dry, like so dry that makeup just wouldn't go on top of it. It did not look nice. It was peeling in my chin. It was peeling in these areas. It's still peeling pretty bad and really dry and flaky in my eyebrow area. But this guy just for some reason just makes you look super healthy, super glowy. I don't necessarily think that it prolongs the wear of my makeup. It just makes my face just look alive, especially with the way that it has been looking so dull and so dry lately. I've just been kind of bathing in this, to be completely honest. It looks super nice on the skin, especially if you have dry skin. If you have oily skin, maybe not, but I have been loving this. I have been reaching it for a lot. The one thing that everybody loves about this product is the actual sprayer. Let me just one more time for the satisfaction of how beautiful and perfect, and okay, that's enough wasting of the product, but I like it. And if you have severely dry skin, as long as you shake it really well and hold it a good distance away from your skin, you shouldn't have that glitter problem that I have seen a couple of people mention and talk about. I have never noticed it on my skin. I have never looked in the sun and been like, oh my God, glitter. You know what I mean? So it works for me, and I really do enjoy it. A concealer. We finally found a Milk Makeup product that I like. This is the Milk Makeup Flex. Is that what it's called? The Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. And I do have mine in the shade, I believe I picked it up in the shade Light. Now, what I like about this is it's not as full coverage as the Tarte Shape Tape, but I also noticed that it is not as drying. The Tarte Shape Tape lately has been making my under eyes just look too dry. And I know that there have been times where I've gone a little bit ham with the Tarte Shape Tape. I've applied a lot, and I know that that can have something to do with making it look a little bit more cakey, a little bit too overdone. And because it's such a full coverage concealer, you don't need a lot. But with that being said, I've kind of taken a step back for it. I've been playing with it again and trying to like love it again. But I've noticed that I've loved this one a little bit more, because the Tarte Shape Tape is, if you're going to wear a full coverage, full flawless, you want all of that all over your face, the Tarte Shape Tape is going to be the concealer for you. With that being said, I haven't been doing as much full coverage lately, and I think that's why I wasn't really liking the Tarte Shape Tape, because it was just looking so weird. It was almost like a line of demarcation of where my concealer would end and like my foundation was trying to blend over top of it, because my foundations, I was putting less and less layers, where I might have used to gone in with 2, 3, 4 layers of foundation. I know the struggle, but my skin was just just was not comfortable with my skin, and I was just trying to like mask the redness and mask the discoloration, that I would just keep piling it on and keep piling it on. And in those situations, the Tarte Shape Tape would look nice because it's like full coverage on top of full coverage on top of full coverage. But now that I've toned it back a little bit, and now that my skin is doing a little bit better, I'm noticing sometimes that the Tarte Shape Tape is just a little too full coverage for me sometimes. That's where this has come into place. Now, I don't like it more than my Urban Decay Naked Skin, because that concealer is truly weightless on the skin. I do notice that this concealer, depending on what foundation that I wear it with, it doesn't always play well with all of my foundations. I have noticed that. I feel like it works a little bit better with like thicker consistency foundations and not so much with like super liquidy foundations. That's what I've personally noticed with this guy. But it's also not drying underneath the eyes. It is, and I do feel like it might have a slight bit more coverage than my Urban Decay Naked Skin, but it blends nice, it wears nicely, it gives you a good medium to medium full coverage underneath the eyes. It's not really super detectable underneath the eyes as well. It will crease if you don't set it, but I go in with minimal powder. What I've been doing recently is I've been taking like a fluffy brush, like eyeshadow brush, and right where I get the most creasing, I still take my powder brush to like set down in this areas, but to get super close to the lash line, I take an eyeshadow brush and I just take a little bit of powder and I set super close to the lash line, and that's been helping a lot with preventing of creasing. This is a good concealer. I believe it comes in 8 shades. It retails for $28. And you know, if you've been around on my channel for a while, you know that me and Milk Makeup have not gotten along. And the first time I tried this concealer, I actually didn't like it because it was with the foundation that had a little bit more of a liquidy consistency to it, and they didn't mesh well together. But this is a perfect match for my Laura Mercier foundation that I've been loving, and I'm not even going to mention that in this video, even though I totally just did, because that is the only foundation I have been wearing. But I like this concealer. I want to say that is pretty much it, you guys. Those are pretty much the only things that, because separate from the video that I posted last week, these are the only products that really have stood out to me this month. No new foundations. I've been using the same bronzers. I have been using the Dior Pore Minimizing Primer a lot, and I quite like it. I do think it's really good. It does a really good job of minimizing pores as well, and it is a little bit easier to use. Because I mentioned it before, one of my favorite pore filling primers is the Tarte Clean Slate Smoothing Primer. But if you put too much of that primer, it will ball up. It will get really thick and really heavy on your skin. So you have to like kind of gauge that primer with your particular skin type. But that is one of my favorites. This is really nice. It's a little bit easier to use. It's your standard more pore filling primer. It looks and acts just like any other pore filling primer. It has that silicone base, but it doesn't get too matte. So I feel like it's finding that perfect balance between not being too thick and too heavy, but not being too light where it doesn't do anything whatsoever. I also don't want anything that's going to be super matte, and I feel like this is a really good in between. Now, it is Dior, and it is going to be pricey. I've had this for a while. I don't remember how much it cost, but I want to say it was probably in the 30+ range. But it's a good primer. I've actually been enjoying it. I put my Tarte Clean Slate Primer down because I wanted to get more use out of some of my other products. And this is one that I've been reaching for a lot with and then of course, the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. Those two have been the ones that have been on rotation the most since I've given my Tarte Clean Slate Primer a break. But yeah, so anyways, with the exception of that guy that I just threw in there, those are all of the products that I did use in the month of August. And I cannot believe my older sister's birthday is actually tomorrow, which is going to be today, the day that this video is going up, August 31st. She does not watch my videos, but just by the off chance that she does, happy birthday, sister. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. List down below some of your favorite products for the month of August, some things that you would maybe want me to try out or test out. I'm all the way here for you guys as recommendations when you leave them for me. And yeah, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye guys.